Hi guys, and today's review is on a new auto-hauled locomotive from a new company, and this is from Sonic Models, exclusively for rails of Sheffield. The price for this is £150, £30 deposit, so when it comes out you pay £120. And this is the Great Central N9 class, and it's a Pacific locomotive. That means it's a 4-6-2 wheeled arrangement, and it's a tank engine. It's the first one ever to be done in 00. We've had other tank engines before and other Pacifics, tender Pacifics, but this is the first tank Pacific. Like I said, this is exclusive and it's in the Era 2 Great Central Railway livery, and from this view it looks fantastic. So let's get into it and see if it's really worth the £150 that you have to pay for it or not. So here goes. With this model you do get a detailing bag. In that detailing bag you get the brake rigging for the locomotive. You also get some lamps as well. You also get some piping to fit, I think it's sanding pipes. You also get the fireman's tools on a sprue. You get the hook and chain links for front and back. You also get an M pocket as well, and a few other details in there as well. Moving on to the front of the locomotive now. We do have the usual metal sprung buffers, and these are oval. We also have the buffer beam and housing in red. The buffer beam itself does have some lining on there. There's a hole for some of the detail parts as well. We also have the number of this locomotive, which is 373. The buffer beam is in red, like I said. We also have a steam pipe or vacuum pipe there too. We also have a front coupler as well, already fitted to the locomotive, and it's in an M pocket. Moving on up, we do have some bracing and a step, and also like some inside cylinders as well. We also have 3 lamp irons separately applied. The smoke box dart is in a wheel configuration, and I believe it's partly moulded. Most of the detail on this is picked out in silver or metal, can't really tell. We do have the hinges for the door as well. And then we have the handrail at the top, or the grab rail at the top, in metal, shiny silver. And then we have a lamp iron as well, and then we have the chimney. Looks rather nice. As we do a side look now at the locomotive, there's some differences on the side. The other side has I think it's a metal reverser just behind the tanks. And that's the only difference I can see from my perspective. We also don't have any cylinder work inside, it's just black curved plastic in there, which doesn't bother me. It's a nice touch when manufacturers do it, but it doesn't bother me. What we do have around this side, and it's going to be exactly the same around the other side from what I can say, we do have 2 lubricating pots at the front, along with a builder's plaque, I believe. And that area is in engine red, I want to call it. We also have the bogies themselves, have got axles and springs, which is fantastic. We also have a step as well, just between the bogie wheels and the driving wheels, and then we have one near the cab. The wheel configuration for this locomotive is a Pacific. It's a 4-6-2, and it's off the Great Central Railway. We also have the Great Central Railway on the tanks as well of the crest as well. We also have lining on this locomotive. We have linings on the tanks, the bunker, and the boiler, and also the wheels as well. I want to say it's apple green or Great Central green. The handrails you see on the boiler are metal, and the handrails I believe on the tanks and by the cab are also either metal or plastic. It's hard to tell. Speaking of the cab area, we do have a door pre-fitted. We also have the steps, like I said. The chassis itself is die-cast, and it's really heavy. It's probably the heaviest tank locomotive I have in my collection. We also have a number on the bunker, which is the same as the one on the front. It's 373, which is crisply applied. All the painting on this is crisply done, no issues whatsoever. And we also have lining round the bunker side too. We even have lining and painting around the cab where the windows would be for the crew to look at, but this being a pre-grouping one, it doesn't have windows, it just has a curve. As we move on to the cab detail, the cab detail is fantastic for such a cheap-ish locomotive for this day and age. We do have everything painted in there. We also have a cream roof. We have glazing in the front and back windows as well. There's no dials in the gauges. There's no water dials either. It's just gold, but at least they've gone to the trouble of painting it, and it does look fantastic. But when it's going around, are you going to see it? Probably not, but at least they've gone to that sort of trouble. And the cab does lift off if you want to put figures in there as well. As we look at the back of the locomotive, or the bunker now, you can see them windows that look a bit sad at the back. They are glazed, like I said, and they do have a gold trim, and I think they're also lined as well. Starting off at the buff beam now, the buff beam itself does have metal sprung buffers, and they are correct. They are round for this type of locomotive. We also have some steps as well at the side. We have a coupler as well in the M1. We also have a hole for some details. The buff beam and housing again is in red. I think there's a few rivets as well. There's also a hole there for some detail parts from the bag. We do have a steam pipe or vacuum pipe pre-fitted. Moving on up, we have 3 lamp irons. We also have some lining in this green livery. We also have the number of the locomotive again, which is 373. We also have handrails. The handrails, I think, are metal. They could be plastic, but they really look like metal to me. And then we have the half moon thing at the top with lining as well, and another lamp iron too. And to do an aerial view on top of this locomotive now, let's start in the bunker area. The bunker does have some coal rails. I think there's 5 or 4 there. We also have a plastic holder. Below that plastic holder, which can be removed, is a screw, I believe, for the body. We do have a vent, but it doesn't move. The cab roof itself is in black with a few rivets. I believe the whistles and safety valves are metal, which is a fantastic touch. Again, from this angle, you can see the windows. Again, they've got a gold lining, and there's 4 of them in total, 2 either side. We also have a few washout plugs dotted around as well. The only issue with this, from pictures that I've seen online, is for pre-grouping livery, should the safety valves be covered up? I'm not too sure, but they do look the part anyway. On the tanks, we have a holder for the fireman's tools, which you get in the detail bag. You also get water filler caps, which look like they've got hinges, but they don't move. There's also a few other details on the tanks as well. The lining is in white, black and white, and it's pretty well done. The only issue I have is between the chimney and the firebox, there is a mould line on mine. I don't know if that's meant to be there, but there is. I believe the chimney is separately applied, and also the dome is separately applied on this locomotive. The feeder doesn't look to be separately applied, but either way, you can't really tell. It does look great. Then around the other side, we also have another steam pipe, as well as this side as well. There's a steam pipe leading to the chimney from the tanks. And finally, we come on to an underneath look at this locomotive. The couplings are in black, but the bogies themselves are in Indian red. Like I said, we do have lining on the wheels. Every wheel has lining, and I believe the axles are covered up as well. We only have pickups on the 6 driving wheels, which is a little bit of a shame, but hopefully it will manage points. We also have Sonic models on the base keeper plate twice. I think there's 3 or 4 screws to take off the base keeper plate. There is I think it's a standard 5-pole motor, and it has a flywheel on it inside the model. We do have some holes to add the brake rigging. We also have some sanding pipes as well. The wheel under the bunker does not move. It's a floating wheel. It's the same way that Bachmann did their LNER class 5, I believe. But it does the job anyway, and as far as I can tell. Everywhere you look, there is detail. We also have, like I said, a die-cast running chassis, and like I said, it is really heavy. And on either side, you can see the metal sprung buffers as well. So next up will be the usual second radius and points test. I am curious to see how it gets on with only 6 pickups on the locomotive on the points. So here goes. It's a little fast, but it sort of made it. What's that, 35? It's not bad, a little fast for my liking. Yeah, it managed that pretty well. If I'm honest with you, it doesn't like the 3-pointer, the Pico 3-pointer, but not many locos do, so I did it from the shed, something different. Second radius, managed it perfectly fine. Next up will be some slow speed, hopefully, and then I'll wind it at train and see you at the end. So here goes. Not bad. What's that? 25? It's not bad for saying it's DC ready. It's quite slow actually. So guys, that's the end of the review and running session. I will apologise about the stock that I ran with it, which was the 4 and 6 wheel coaches by Hornby and Hattons in LNER and Great Northern livery. I don't have any Suburban stock apart from a Tryon coach in red. And I definitely don't have any Great Central Railway stock at this point in time, so I do apologise. Like I said, the price for this was £150 plus a deposit, so you pay £20, £120 when it arrives, which for a brand new tooled locomotive in a pre-grouping livery, that's pretty cheap if I'm honest with you. Normally pre-grouping liveries go for quite an expensive price, going off Bachmann and Hornby's in the past. I will give some context in prices here. So the N7 from Oxford Rail is £100, and that has diecast and all the rest of it. Again, isn't a bad price. I know we can't compare everything to Oxford Rail, but they have really shown the way of how to make a really detailed locomotive for a cheap price. Then we have Hornby's Fowler 4P, which was announced this year in 2023 for £190, and that tooling is pretty old. I think it's like 2011, 2010. And then finally, we have a LNER V1/V3, depending on your preference, by Bachmann, which I believe the body itself stems all the way back to the 90s. and that's going for £145. For most retailers, these prices are. Again, that does seem a little high. Said it's been around for ages, and Sonic have come along and gone, well, we're going to do this for £150 each. And that's including Rails of Sheffield taking their cut as well, because this is exclusive to Rails of Sheffield. So if I'm honest with you, it's a very good price for this day and age in 2023 when you think about it. Some tank locomotives are touching £250. Others are, like I said, up to around £100. I highly recommend this. I only have one issue for me, and it's only my opinion. The only issue I have, it needs more pickups. There's no pickups on any of the bogie wheels or the wheel underneath the cab. Some manufacturers do put pickups in them. This needs it, in my opinion, just to help it move along. It still moves along steadily, but it'll give it more of an opinion to get out of these sticky situations. Like my 3 points, Pico 3 points, it gets stuck on the centre bit, which, if I'm honest, quite a lot of my locos do. That's why I've changed it to the shed. But like I said, as much as I'm not a fan of Rails of Sheffield for how they have treated me, if you know, if you don't, I'm sorry. I really highly recommend this locomotive over the others they do. The D-Class, the Caledonian 812 and the LNWR improved President class. But it is nice to see a few more pre-grouping companies and new pre-grouping locomotives. There is a market for pre-grouping locomotives, if I'm honest with you. So for me, it's a big thumbs up. I'd still apologise about the stock. I am sorry. So highly recommend these. If you're not got one and you fancy one, I'd highly recommend getting these for. They probably sell out. I believe 70%, 75% have already sold out when mine got delivered. So anyway guys, sorry about the little ramble. I'll see you in the next video, so please take care and goodbye.